right, guys, welcome to the KFO show, Kayak Fishing Obsessed. My name's Darren. I'm your host. And if you love fishing or kayak fishing, there's no better place to be on the planet than right here, right now. Guys, I got a show for you tonight. We got Paul from Cincy Fish Dudes on, and we're going to be talking about targeting smallmouth bass, some new baits that came out on iCast a couple of weeks ago. We're going to talk about the Titan X. And so I am absolutely pumped out of my mind. Paul and I have gone fishing before together when I was down in Cincinnati. So this is going to be a good time tonight. All right, let's do some news and announcements. If you're listening in from the podcast, one, I'd like to apologize because I was actually traveling on vacation last week. And I listened to one of my recent podcasts, and the audio was abysmal. And so I invested into a nice new mic. So hopefully this sounds a little bit better on your ears. And so thank you for sticking in with me for the first 34 episodes. Hopefully it sounds a bit nicer. All right. Well, I just celebrating this past week. This show is brought to you by Wendell Fishing, which is my YouTube channel and everything else, live show, all that stuff over there. But we just hit 5 million views and 25,000 subs last week. We're already at 26,000. So I just want to celebrate with all of you because I am not the hero in the story. You guys are. So I'm just absolutely jacked to have conversations with all of you. A lot of you are hopping on and commenting. Like, I consider you friends. And so thank you so much. And just pumped about where the channel is heading. Tonight, if we have the Cast Cray giveaway, and really what this means is I'm looking and asking people to be a part of the Wendell Fishing community by becoming a channel member. I have a variety of different levels on my YouTube channel, like starting at $2 a month. I send out vinyl decals. I do, as you guys can see, some people will type in and have their own custom emojis. You get access to those, early access to videos that won't post for a week, sometimes 2 weeks in advance. I just added an additional perk where every Monday morning, I share kind of behind the curtain channel analytics. So if you're curious about that, love for you to become a channel member. Head over to wendellfishing.com, which take you to my YouTube channel, and hit the join button to check that out. Let's head over to the Knucklehead Bass Fishing Series, guys. I am in the middle of month number 3 of 4. Tammy Sanchez, Greg Massa already solidified their spot, and we have a fight going for the third person to join my team. So let's head over to Fishing Chaos. Let me present my screen here. Share the old screen. Fishing Chaos. All right, I just refreshed this a minute ago, so we should have this figured out. Oh, and I apologize, guys. I didn't realize I had a particular screen up, and now it's gone. All right, here we go. All right, Tammy Sanchez, man, she won the first month, and she is in first place this month with 98.25 inches. I am pulling in second with 94.75 inches. Jake, that's why you called me today. He wasn't in third as of this morning, so he caught some fish today. He is technically first since Tammy and myself are already on the team. He's in first place with 90.75 inches. Lost and Tackle Lit, 89 inches. And Troy's Corrales at 83.75. So it is still up for grabs, folks. And if you didn't get in, if you're like, hey, I want to be a part of that, head over to fishingchaos.com, type in Knucklehead, and it'll bring up that tournament. And I'd love for you to join the team and win a spot on the team as we are going to be going down to Lake Guntersville on Veterans Day weekend and fishing off against Hoover, Fluke Master, Larry Melton Jr., Fishing with Gramps. And there's like a ton more people who just recently, Bearded Dad Fishing recently just joined. And so pretty pumped about that. All right. Let's head back here. Let me stop sharing my screen here. All right. Well, now next week, real quick, Chad Hoover is going to be as my guest on the show as we talk about a reel that kind of broke my Facebook page. 3 million views, over 2,000 comments. And we will react to those as it apparently was controversial. So that'll be a fun show next Tuesday night. And remember, this is an interactive show. So let's welcome Paul from Cincy Fish Dudes. Oh, he's riff. Oh, come on. Is that the ukulele I see there?
Yeah, I'm going to do your soundtrack, Mr. Wendell. It's going to be called
like
Mr. Wendell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were in the green room. It's like, hey, he asked me, have you ever heard the song Mr. Wendell? I was like, my last name's Wendell. Of course, I grew up on that song. I used to know all the lyrics.
I also grew up on that song.
Love it.
90s babies.
Yes.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. It's been a couple months since you took me out and put me on the juice. I've been missing
Gosh, what
missing
was that,
that.
March or April?
I don't know. It was freaking cold. I do remember that.
Well, yeah, for you, yeah, because we went wading. It was like 51 degrees, and you didn't have any waders or anything.
No, you didn't either. You did let me borrow some
Well,
socks, and
I had a wetsuit underneath my pants, so wetsuit pants, so it kind of kept me warm. But I didn't want to tell you that because I want you to think I was like manning up there with you.
you had 2 pair of gloves the whole time.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, what? Come on, Lost and Tackle. Please help him with the intro. You know you love that. He's in there. He's dancing on that with that music, intro music. We'll get there.
I made
All right. Well,
for Matt's fishing mission here.
I see
Recently.
that. Matt, welcome, my man. We got Steve. I got all kinds of people in here that I recognize. Sergeant Reed. Awesome. Darren Hayes. You spelled your name wrong, brother, but hey, welcome to the show. So tell me, Paul, what is Cincy Fish Dudes? Because I'm only talking to one person, but what is Cincy Fish Dudes?
You should know because you're a Cincy Fish dude.
Yeah, I know everyone. I
have
have it in
on the channel with us is a Cincy Fish dude.
Okay.
I mean, as you can tell, we never fish with girls. They won't go with us, ladies, women. So we're just stuck with the dudes. We're stuck with the dudes.
So how did it all come to be?
Me and my buddy Neil. I don't know. It was 2019. I always fish casually, not like I do like every day now intensely, but. I was on the internet too much, like we all are on our phones too much, trying to find something to get me off and outside. Started hiking a lot. Started hiking by bodies of water. I'm like, oh, I'll bring my fishing rod, blah, blah, blah. And then I was catching things. I'm like, well, I'll bring my GoPro next time. And then, yeah, it was just the channel was just going to document my catches between Neil and I and where we can go the next year. Like, hey, this was hot in March this week. We should try that again this year. But then people started commenting, and so that I just started making television episodes out of them. So,
you know what? I've interviewed now. You're number 35.
35 YouTubers,
and a lot of them are YouTubers. Not every single one are YouTubers, but the story is the same. Like it was never the intention starting out to be like I'm going to do this full time on day one. It was always like I tripped and I fell into it, and hey, here I am now, and people are listening and commenting, and now I have a community that I never had before. So
exactly, and like we've talked about this before, being a regional channel, it's kind of cool because I actually run into people who watch the show on occasion. Like if it was like a more a national thing, I probably would never run into anybody, but having Cincy in the name, I'm running into people at breweries and bars and other places of alcohol, I guess.
Common denominator here.
Stores, which also have alcohol. Dang it. But yeah, it's been fun.
So you're like famous in Cincinnati is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. We're playing fast and loose with famous, but
I've had yet anybody to be like, hey, are you Darren? It probably will never happen, but who knows?
We'll
see. I'm not Canton Fish Dude, so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Love it.
I am wearing your pin on my PFD though.
Nice.
You actually made mention of that. So
yeah, I'm a little bit of a brand whore. I'm giving everybody my pins and shirts and buttons and stuff.
It's all good.
I come from a marketing background, so it's hard to get that out of me.
Since I've been in your house before, I know just to your right, my left is like a screen printing shirt. Did you make that? Tell me you made that shirt.
I did.
Yes.
Yes,
I love it. So let's hop in here. Everyone came to the show because they want to hear about chasing smallmouth bass. And I know that's something you're fairly good at. Not just smallmouth. So you have your master angler certificate from last year. So one, explain what that is for those who don't live in Ohio. And two, what's kind of segue us to smallmouth bass fishing. I got some questions for you. And Gramps, welcome to the show, my man.
Heck yeah. Hey, guys, I had a couple comments that I was a little quiet. I adjusted my levels here, so let me know if you can hear me a little better. Maybe I'll just talk a little closer. Darren, what was your question?
So tell me the master angler and then segue for us.
So Ohio has Fish Ohio. It's a recognition program run by the ODNR, and they have a list of all the species. And if you make the measurement, it doesn't go by weight, it goes by measurement. But if you make the measurement guideline for what they consider a trophy fish, you get a fish angler pin. And, I got a bunch of those every year. But if you get four different species that meet that level, I mean, that meet their Fish Ohio qualifying, you get the master's pin, which is the same thing as the regular pin, but it's gold colored, and you get a certificate and stuff like that. I've only, I think I've only done master angler two times since I've started doing this thing. So,
I mean,
um,
these aren't just like you catch a. I mean, what are the inches on like what's the bass? What's the carp? What's the other?
smallmouth is 18 inches,
Okay, that's a chunk.
which is might be easy for people who live up by Lake Erie and stuff, but down here I got to find that stuff out of like creeks and stuff, which is I'll find maybe 3 or 4 a year, but
Yeah,
they're not everywhere. They're not everywhere. I usually get the smallmouth over the largemouth master anglers, but I always get a couple like huge rock bass or huge green sunny or a sockeye. I think last year I got a channel catfish. I needed one more to make the master angler, so I was like, okay, I'll just go out for a channel catfish. That should be
right.
easy enough.
Should
And
be.
right away, I caught a
They get
30
nailed
inch
it.
10 pounder. But
I was fishing this morning, and there's a gentleman who was fishing next to me, and like, and he was throwing minnows, and I'm fishing a tournament, so I can't use live bait, but he caught this monster cat, and he had a net that maybe was like this big,
yeah,
so I had to go over there with my Yak Attack net and land it for him, so he didn't like cut
nice.
his line. So
Hook a
man,
brother up.
well, congrats. I've never gone for it, but congrats on those who have. I mean, you can't just be good at one species. So I tip my hat to you, my friend. When we
I
went out,
appreciate it.
you took me to the creeks and you took me to the rivers, to the honey holes, which I will never share. And
Yeah,
this is the places where the creek crawler's probably been, where Matt's fishing mission has probably been. But I
definitely
signed an NDA.
Definitely Matt, but we won't tell Creek Crawler
Oh
where
yeah,
where I took you. Come on.
yeah. He just showed up. For those on the podcast, like, what are you guys talking about? He is in the comments as well.
What's up, Creek
Also
Crawler?
been killing it lately on some of his photos that he's been posting, and he's been trying out the wacky worm. So he's been texting me. I was like, dude, this thing has been absolutely slaying for him. All right, so
Can't beat the wacky worm.
the wacky worm. So we went out. Did we catch an 18 when we went out when you took me to the
No, I
creeks?
think we got 16s.
Okay.
Actually, you were. I was throwing all kinds of goofy stuff, but you were sticking with the Ned rig. Playing exactly what you needed to do, and you were catching all the smallies that day.
It's because you retired the Ned rig like 2 months early.
I did go a little. I do. Well, you retired the crankbait too early. I just caught a nice smallmouth on a crankbait. So
Okay, you're
I
right.
was
I do retire. I do retire the crankbait. All right, so walk us through. I know you just did a video, came out. You have a kayak fishing video, but you also do a lot of wade fishing. One, which was your favorite, and two, kind of walk us through your setup, how you target them, how you find these creeks. I mean, for those of us, a lot of us who are just like primarily kayak fishing and want to get into creek fishing, like give us the 101 from
okay.
top
You,
lures, line,
you
your rod
got it.
setup, all that stuff.
I'm gonna turn off my AC. So we also got a boat this year as well, and so that's just it's so easy. I can't believe how easy it is when you have a boat. Like you just stand there and grab from one of 20 rods that are all set up and stuff. So
Right.
but wading is definitely my love. My first, I mean, over all fishing, I love wading the best. I mean, you are halfway in the creek river most of the time, so you're feeling the bottom with your feet. You're feeling the currents against your knee. You know what's going on. You feel the different temperature levels, So you're getting that kind of thing that you don't necessarily get on top of a boat or a kayak or from the bank. You're feeling it. You're one with the river, and it's just awesome to catch something big when you're half in the river and you're trying
Oh,
to
I hear you.
pull it up to yourself. But and the adventures and the threat of getting shot or chased or bitten by a dog, which all have happened in the past. But
Well, hold up. You can't just say that and then
I
walk
haven't
over
been
it.
shot at. I've had people play pranks on me, Matt. I've had hillbillies chase me through the woods with shotguns. Um, I've
You
had
were telling me
actually
this story.
I've had actual real hillbillies with their handguns and stuff. But We use an app. We try to stick it. We try to stay on the boundaries that we've set out with people we have permissions through. I have other contacts and stuff. That's great about having a local fishing channel. So many people send you their spots. Hey, you
Oh,
can use our yard. You can park in. You can cut through our. You can enter your
yeah.
kayak here. I'm like, oh my gosh, if you guys are just going to sit there and give me all your honey holes around town, but which I try to respect because as a local fishing channel, I'm giving away. I don't want to give away all these spots that we're catching fish.
No,
So
I
we
hear you.
we usually just say it's a creek, a part of the Little Miami River system. We're on northeast Cincinnati. We try not to. I do other little tricks to try to hide spots, but it's not that I don't want people to catch fish at my spots. I'd rather like how it is. Show them how to catch fish and why we caught these fish, not just
Yeah.
point to where to go. And
No, I hear you. I was literally today. I was in Canva doing the background remover because you could literally see where I was in the reflection of my sunglasses, like clear as
I've done that
day.
before. I've done
Yeah.
that.
And so, I mean, I don't do it to like, hey, I'm trying to keep these to myself. I'm trying to honor those who called it maybe their home lake, and hopefully keep from getting my tires slashed while I'm out fishing.
Yeah, musky fishermen, which I don't target because they're not in our area, but they can be very very predatory or defensive about their spots. I
Oh yeah.
understand. But
Oh yeah. All right,
creek,
so interesting. Cooler Lid's got a question here, and we'll talk about the list for Ohio at least because I know the rules are a little different from state to state. But his question was: Are river waterways private or public in Ohio? Give us the lowdown for Ohio.
they're all. I imagine they're all private unless they're running through a park. You know, but one side of the creek could be owned by this guy, and one can be owned by the other guy, or one guy could own both sides of the creek. Then you're just trespassing. In Ohio, we have this rule like you have to be on the water. They don't own the water. You have to be on a kayak or a flotation thing. But as soon
Hmm.
as you touch foot on one side of the creek or the other, you're trespassing. So you got to make sure you know what side you're allowed on and all that and
Yeah,
stuff. There are areas that are, I would say, fishing friendly where the neighbors come out and wave at you and talk to you and hey, you don't care if we come through here and all that, and then yeah, you're fine. Just pick up after yourself. You know the
right.
rule.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Now you had some hillbillies roll up with you with some guns one time. You remember you telling me this, and
Yes,
you can talk down anybody.
I have
You
my
were like,
Jedi
shit.
mind tricks.
You
My
got the
Jedi mind
skills. You're like,
tricks.
I was not here.
Yeah. I was fishing in this property, but they lived across the way. But my aunt owned the property. My aunt's boyfriend owned the property across the way, and so usually, though, when it comes to people, if you change their mind, and start talking about fishing right away, like they'll forget why they're out there chasing you down.
Uh huh.
More than not, just be friendly and kind and polite. Ask permission, and if you stray too far, maybe ask permission for the next time. That's happened to me before. Heck, there's sometimes I'll look for properties like a fishing term. I'll look for properties, look up who owns them, find them on Facebook, message them, get their permission to fish there. I've gotten a
Wow.
hold of properties through their wives, girlfriends, girlfriends, instant messages. Yeah,
What the
that's
world?
a little bit of embellishment, but uh, the things we do to find those good holes out in the way out.
So two things here. One, be friendly, but two, start a local fishing channel if you really want to find the sweet honey holes because people will start sharing them with you. Yeah, there you go.
Not in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's mine.
So one of the other Cincy fish dudes, Matt's fishing mission, has said Paul's the master Jedi of talking out of sticky situations. So it sounds like you guys have gotten yourself into some over the years.
Yeah, yeah. Matt's too intimidating. We just stick him behind me and let the happy dad talk.
True.
Hello,
Y-
kind sir.
You're clean shaven. Yeah. And you
Yeah,
got like the vest on. You look like yeah, definitely dad rolling through.
I have the Sasquatch. He'll stand behind me. Also, in case anything goes down, you have to be able to run faster than the Sasquatch behind you.
There you go. There you go. All right, so let's go tactical real fast.
You got it.
Give me the juice. So, what do you got tied on? Now you only carry one pole because I fished with you before.
Most of the time, kayak
Yeah.
and boat, I carry a couple, but I'm a one rod, one reel dude. What do I have on? Um, I bought this mold a couple years ago because I love 3 to 4 inch curly tail grubs
Oh yeah.
for
I've seen you
smallmouth.
fish that.
Yeah, I call it the Cincy fish grub. And guess what? If you melt down all your spent down lures and stuff from the season, you melt down all the colors. you get that classic green pumpkin color. So that's probably why
Surprise,
all these
surprise.
companies have green pumpkin because they're just melting all their leftover stuff down.
Or
That's literally what
black.
I get whenever I need green pumpkin. I just melt all the colors together. But I hand those out. I give them out to all my friends. They're such a great confidence lure. You can fish them fast on the top. You can bring them through the middle of the column where there's movement. You can bounce them like Ned rigs on the bottom. They're so versatile. They're so versatile.
What's the
And you can
weight
use
on
them
the
as
jig head?
trailer. I like right now. I'm like in a. It depends. Small creeks, I like 16 ounces. Bigger rivers, I go, 4th
16
ounces.
ounces.
Yeah. What 116? 116.
That's a drag us a weight.
And I also make my own like crankbaits. And there's nothing better than catching fish on. There's a logo. See, I told you I'm a brand wolf.
It's the logo. That's what's catching them, right? Like, wait a second, that guy's
Sir.
famous. I need to meet him, so I need to go swallow this thing.
I have a video coming out where I caught.
Oh wow,
it's half resin and half
You're-
wood from a branch in my yard.
Look at you. Now, if you were to go into Paul's house, like one of his rooms, he's got like once they catch one fish, he retires them because they're so pretty.
Yes, it's the greatest feeling in the world to catch a fish on your lure that you spend 8 hours making, but it's also the worst thing in the world to lose that lure. But fortunately, I have a video that shows the whole process, so I guess that lure will always be mine in the video. But yeah,
I mean, I know a lot of people who will make soft plastics, right? Grab the mold, melt it down, do that. I don't know many people who like tackle what you're trying to do. What are some of the nuances to doing hard baits on your
hard
own?
baits. Well, I started off for years watching like I like go to sleep to guys watching baits because it's so quiet and like relaxing. And then
ASMR bait
after a
making.
year of watching those videos, I knew what I was. As soon as I made my first lure, I knew what I was going to do.
Huh.
I'm a little bit handy with wood, but not like most baby boomer men who just know how to do everything wood. So it's just like carving. But I'll pick a wood from the shop, like a basswood or a balsa, or I'll go out and grab a cool branch from one of my trees and I'll let it sit around for like 6 months to dry out or put it in the stove. And then I'll go to a computer and think of a design or, what I want to do. I'll print it out, put it on a piece of wood, carve it. If you look at any of my winter views, that's what I do in the winter when it's too cold to fish down here in Ohio. I just make hard bait lures. People like watching that stuff in the winter too.
Yeah.
And most of the time, I try to go out and catch something with them, but it's hard. It's hard to do in January and February. But it's happened.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to those. That'll be fun. We got some comments over here. Let's head over here. David Brockway says wading has changed fishing for me. And
Awesome.
If you've never been wade fishing before, man, it's incredible. I'm getting ready to go on a trip out to Pennsylvania next week.
Nice.
To go smallmouth fishing. It's you pick up some giant trout sometimes as well.
Yeah.
And I am absolutely pumped just walking through
awesome,
super clear water. So we'll see. I might even break out the net. I'm just kidding. We use a lot of live bait, but I'm bringing the Yamatanuki with me, and they also like to kill the they smash wacky worms with green pumpkin red fleck where we're at as well. So that's kind of fun.
You sold me on the Yamatanuki. I'm gonna buy one.
I went out this morning. I caught 5 this morning. Now, Morgan, I know he's on. He wrote me and he's like, "Hey, I haven't caught a freaking thing on the Yamatanuki yet." I was like, "This is how I fish it. I fish it in the mornings, I will get on the water around 5:30 till about 8:00, and I just nonstop. They just go crazy." And something I didn't mention in the video, which I showed how to fish these, is I showed a bunch of techniques, but something I picked up since the video is I'll throw it out instead of doing like the tug and getting the erratic movements and let it do the flutterfall. I'll just do a quick reel, burn pause to get it to the boat. And a lot of times big ones will just, they follow it real fast and then they basically run into it and then they smash it. And so it is picked up, wacky worm pick me up numbers, but the Yamatanuki has been picking up like 13 all the way to 19s for me.
Wow.
And so it's actually kind of unbelievable how many fish the Yamatanuki has picked up for me.
Do you fish it like a Ned rig too?
I'm not. I kind of moved away from the Ned rig. My biggest fish recently, and I'm fishing lakes, 500, 700, 2,500 acres.
Yeah.
And I've been throwing on a jig and been killing it. I got my biggest fish of the month, 21.25, just a few days ago.
Have that video been released yet?
No, it has not. No, I haven't even posted a photo of it yet. I'm so backed up because I was on vacation last week.
What is it?
Um,
5.5 pounds?
it was long. It wasn't that. It was 5 pounds.
5 pounds.
And right before that, picked up on the jig a 4.5 pounder, all within like an hour. I was like, what is going on? Both on the jig. So between the jig and the Yamatanuki, it's been hard for me to pick up another lure. But I have a bunch of new ones rigged up, of course, going river fishing. It's a whole new game. So go a little more tactical for us. You have your grub that you make,
Yes.
curly tail grub. You have your hard,
Yeah.
homemade.
I like Big
Anything you
Joshy
buy?
swim
Do you
baits.
buy anything?
Yeah, I like Big Joshy swim baits. Um, for a couple years, I was a pro staff at Cascray, so you were once as
Yeah.
well, and so I fished their lures for several years exclusively, but I had since stepped down from the pro staffing world a couple months ago, just to go out and fish weird stuff, which I'm really into right now. I'm like, oh, that is the strangest looking thing I've ever seen. Let's fish it all night. It looks cool in a picture too, and you got this big purple and pink looking weird thing that looks like a Muppet.
Where are you fishing?
Oh, well, I'll have to show you. It's hard to. I can't even remember the name of it. Just anything that when you see them like at the fishing shows, you're like, "What the heck is that? I've never seen that."
And you buy
I
it.
would
You're the
do
person that
that.
buys that.
I haven't been able to do that for the last couple years, but now I'm like a free agent. I'm out there fishing with
Oh, that's
all the
right.
crazy stuff.
Because
But
you're exclusive for a
I
while.
do
Now you're
like Big
like,
Joshy swim baits
okay,
across
okay.
Ohio.
Well, nice. So I am what I've had the luck with since we're talking smallmouth. Um, so I have there's like itsy bitsy jigs by Strike King, and I put a Z-Man little crawl on it, and that seems to do really well. Of course, just live crayfish just absolutely destroy where I'm hitting. The wacky worm does it in typically shallow water, and then the bomber with the crayfish action that you run on the bottom, and so that usually picks up a larger smallmouth for me. But I'm using fluorocarbon, so I got 8 pound fluorocarbon
Okay.
for the rivers. Just spinning tackle to be completely honest with you. So that's kind of what I run. But
And you like
um,
natural colors.
typically I'll go natural colors. It'll be hard pressed to find any video that I've ever done or any photo outside of like purple that
Yeah.
isn't like super. I mean, I guess you can say purple can be natural to some bluegill, those kind of variations, but you won't see me doing like neon yellow or something crazy like that. It
Well,
typically I'm green pumpkin, black fleck for all my Yamatanukis and my Senkos. And then for instance, I picked up some because I was out with True North Outdoor Adventures. He took me smallmouth fishing in that video I posted a couple months ago,
hmm
and he put me on the Nico Leech, and then I had Creek Crawler on, and he put me on that tadpole thing. So I have ready to go. So I got a weighted Ned rig. I'm gonna tie on that leech, and he's like, the True North Outdoor Adventures. He's like, hey, you know what? I literally caught like 75 fish with one lure because it's that TPE, real elastic stuff that never breaks
Oh
off.
yeah.
And they last forever. You will lose your hook more than likely faster than that particular type of plastic will rip off your hook there. So I don't know, man.
Creek
I
crawler
don't know.
says I'm not throwing anything if I'm not throwing a 6-inch glide bait in the creek. I have before, but you just maybe challenge me to make my own 6-inch glide bait. Those are pretty advanced lures to make, but I think I'm ready for that step. So that might be a fun video.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
So let's talk. Well, what is your setup for your rod reel line that usually out there? Because I know you have like some white. Is it one fishing? What is it? What do you got?
I
What?
have a custom made rod by Little Miami Rods. He's
Oh,
like a master rod maker, and I met him at a show a couple years ago. We made a deal between each other, and I love that. I beat the crap out of that thing, but he made it for me. He wanted to make a rod that was designed for a guy who does wading, river fishing, and
mm.
kayak fishing. Something that will hold up both and lend well to each little thing, both. So, but I usually go braid, 15 to 20 pound,
Oh, really?
and 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon leader. unless I'm like microfishing creeks and stuff, then I'll just go out with 4 pound fluorocarbon. Um, but yeah, I always go braid to fluorocarbon leader. It's just I'm a creature of habit, and that's what I do. It's definitely frustrating at times, but I don't know.
Sure.
I can chuck it. I can chuck it.
Right. And but do you notice the difference between someone fishing? Like, what's your buddy's fish with you? What's Matt fish? You guys all using braid?
No, I think Matt does mono mostly on a
Okay.
spinning reel. Neil does braid, fluorocarbon leader, and I do mono on my bait casters. And also, I have a couple bait casters with braid as well, but depends what I'm throwing, if I'm top water or not.
So you're fishing side by side. You guys are using all different types of
Yes.
line. Is there a noticeable difference? I mean, is literally our best line shy, or you're like, I don't notice a freaking
Man,
thing?
I just don't have enough scientific evidence to have an opinion on that or not, if they're line shy or not, or if I just had terrible cadence on my thing, or I'm just fishing it good, or if it's the lure, if they're in the right spot. I don't know. I've used every different color of braid, and they all seem to be consistent.
Yeah.
And even when we were talking about colors before, I've seen studies that bass can only see red and greens with their rods and cones they have.
Okay.
And everything else is just shades of gray. So if you're throwing an orange or a purple, it just might be an off shade of gray to them. This is just what I saw in one study. That doesn't mean that's how it is. But
No, I think I've
that
heard
was
that.
interesting.
I've heard it more in one place.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I need to read the study. I need to corroborate it. I don't know. It's interesting. So maybe neon doesn't matter because it's just a real light gray. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, it has the green in it, so that might pop.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
So
The reds definitely pop to them. I heard any kind of red and stuff.
Huh. All right, let me see here. All right. Oh, did we get outdoors for a change? Is a new member? That to show up? I thought he was already a member. Well, 703. My man. All right. Creek Crawler. This is what he says. Hey, congrats to Matt and Paul. You guys just surpassed 5,000 subs on your channel.
Oh, baby steps. Baby steps.
Oh, man, in the first 1,000, like if anybody's out there like ready to start a channel, the first 1,000 is brutal.
I thought
and
the
then,
first 100 was brutal.
Oh my gosh. Can somebody please watch the video I spent 10 hours making? More than like 2 people. And one of them is me twice.
Oh.
So, oh my goodness.
My early videos were just loud music and fishing terrible setups, doing things way too fast. It was a little cringy, but
You know what?
I yanked them.
They say the first are the worst. I thought about yanking mine. Hey, it's a part of the journey.
It is.
I consider myself not so much a content creator, but a content documenter. And I'm really just documenting what I'm doing along the way, and people pick up on
my name. I'm changing I'm a content documenter now.
Oh, that what you're doing?
Okay,
You just did that? It's official, folks. We have 2 content documenters.
I've been actually making videography 20 years before I ever, started getting into fishing. So that was making videos. Like I have guitar channels and all kinds of different YouTube channels out there, different stuff. But I love video making as well. So
yeah,
it kind of helps doing these, full length featured video once a week, every week of the year. So it's a joy.
It is fun. And because of you, I purchased a green screen. And this winter, nice. I'm going to be utilizing. You get all creative with that bad boy. So looking forward to using that. But you were the inspiration behind that.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Okay, Gramps. I'm documented the need for a net in my upcoming video. Just have
Creek Crawler wants me to explain my videography strategy.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
You know what? We all probably change our strategies. It's not always the same process, but night before, charge up the batteries. I use a GoPro, big old battery in my vest, whatever. I clip it, put on my hat or on my vest. My GoPro is always my number one. But if I catch something, I'll pull out my phone to get the 4K stuff, like the close-ups or like the B-roll. And if I'm not feeling ultra lazy, I'll bring along the drone and stuff. But what I do is I loop on my GoPro. So whenever I catch something, I hit the button and it saves the last 5 minutes. That's called looping. You're probably familiar with that.
I've tried it and I hated it.
Yeah, but so when I dump all my footage into my computer, all my catches are right there ready to go with 5 minutes up into it. So I can just like, oh, here's the end of the 5 minutes. There's the catch, and do the editing quick. Then I'll add the transitions and stuff, and at the end, I'll make a couple reels that if there are anything real worthy. I do some of the music here in the studio just for fun. Um, but I do it on Final Cut Pro on a MacBook Pro. But
You're a Renaissance man. You got all kinds of projects going on.
Paul, tilt that mic down. You're still super quiet.
There you
Testing,
go.
testing,
Oh,
testing.
whoa,
Oh,
yeah. Hey, you're like inside my brain right now.
all right.
All right. So
Thanks, man.
we're gonna switch gears here. All right, we're at 40 minutes. Holy cow. All right, so I was gonna talk about the Titan X, but you know what? I'm gonna switch that. I want to head over to kind of talk some lures because 2 weeks ago was the iCast, and they came out with a ton of new product lures.
Saw.
And let's do some reactions. I want to hear everyone else too, kind of your reactions to some of the new baits out there. I'm kind of pumped about some of them. And so I didn't do all of them. There was a ton of them. Some of the ones that like, you got my attention. All right. So first, let's start out with Missile Baits. They came out with this bad boy. I got photos of all this stuff. All right. It is the Bomba. Look at that. Look at that thing. Let me read it to you. The Bomba 3.5 is a thick finesse crawl body worm that casts and skips like a rocket. Think a combination of a Ned rig and a Senko. The bait visually looks like a crawfish with no appendages and has a hook slot in the belly for easy hook sets. The 3.5 is mostly fished Texas rigged weightless to erratically fall to the bottom while gliding, rocking, and even going away from you at times. So it sounds like it's just doing whatever it wants whenever it wants. It goes everywhere. Almost there. The bait excels in spitting and casting outfits. I mean, what else are you gonna fish? You gonna fish it on?
It's the marketing department.
Oh, I know you like that
piece of rubber,
and is basically snag resistant. Basically snag resistant. Sorry, this is cracking me up. The Bomba 3.5 is available in 8 colors, including Candy Crush and Green Pumpkin Diablo. $5.69 for a pack of 6. Available this month at missilebaits.com. 3.5, 3.5. Okay. So interesting enough. So John Cruz owns Missile Baits, who I am fishing against his team at Veterans Day weekend. So I would really love. I think Chad actually did something this morning where he was like, "Hey, wouldn't it be awesome if we beat John Cruz on his own baits that he created?" So thinking about that. So what did you think of the Bomba? And everyone else out there,
view. I couldn't really. Maybe a top-down view or something would have.
You can't see that.
Tell what it was. It's a little phallic.
I mean, it looks like a depths cover scat. I'll be completely honest with you. I mean,
Backwards 13 said, "Can't you just fish a clawless crawl?" Yeah, one of the legendary fishermen in Cincinnati always gets crawl lures and cuts the crawls off.
There it is.
He likes the shape of them without the crawls.
Okay.
But yeah, I've seen people catch bass with cigarettes, with a hook through a cigarette. So, I can't wait to see what else we can throw out here. What else?
So I like the Bomba. This is why I like it, because I've had a really great success on the depths cover scat. Of course, the Yamatanuki, it's a similar heavy plastic, but this is more so like the depths. If you never fished the depths, so this will catch them. I followed John Cruz on his Instagram, and he was down at iCast, literally catching bass out of the lake next to the convention center with this bait. So I look forward to get my hands on him. All right, the next one is the Megalajon, once again created by Spro with the help of John Cruz, hence the Megalajon. So let me go and read this to you. 6-inch soft plastic swim bait designed in conjunction with Elite Series John Cruz. Special blend of plastic produces swimming action with durability to last. Armed with a number 2 Gamakatsu black nickel round bed treble hooks in the belly. Super sharp treble can be held in place with a soft bait magnet screwed into the underside. It doesn't give a price on this bad boy, but also known as the Mag Draft. It looks a little bit the same thing. I mean, I like these types of baits, but it's literally the Mag Draft. It just looks a little bit different. Maybe the fin. I mean, it's enough. It looks a little bit thicker, but I feel like I own this without owning it.
Well, it's always cool to see swim baits with painted, with paint and designs on it, rather than just like a solid color.
Yeah. No, this is good. I like the Megalodon.
I'll give that a shot.
Hey, if you guys haven't done so yet, please help me hit that like button. Help me get some replay action out of the live show. So if you haven't done that, please help me out. Let me see. Ray the Fisherman here. Let me see. Here we go. I'm going to read his comment. Oh, yeah. Before I forgot, I had my first tournament out of the Yak Sunday and came in 7th overall, but won the biggest fish from the skipping technique I learned from you all and Wendell video on it. Right on, man.
Nice.
I'm telling you, you start skipping lures and you dial that in. It can be a sick. You get into places other anglers can't rainbow cast in, and you can really pick them up. All right, the next one. Let me see if there's any more comments on these.
I also skip them when it's not going under, even when it's not going undercover. Like when I'm in a river and creek, I usually always try to do a little skip. I don't know. There's something about that. Dun, 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 dun. That reaction, they see it coming, skipping across the circle. A little bit of top water there before it dives.
No, I love it. I'll like you said, I'll fish in open water. Just trying to get that, especially if it's glass, right?
Yeah.
And so it's going to skip really well doing that. All right, what else do we have? Fishing with Gramps, the Yamaduki. Yep, that's what it looks like. Oh, so good. All right, let's move on. This one's interesting. I would fish this one. This is the Z-Man.
Oh, like a goby type? Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem that I've had always with these goby type lures is that the tail always freaking rips off. I literally bought the Bass Pro Shops version and I took it out of the plastic and the tail fell off. So I was like, all right, I need that TPE or whatever, Lastech, whatever everyone calls it, something different. To have that on a lure like this where it actually will last over and over and over again, that's why I like the Gobius. Let me read this one for you. Matching the soft malleability of a live round goby, the 3-inch Gobius composed super soft, Lastech, pre-rigged with a split dorsal fin, brush guard, and internal bottom hugging jig harness. So it's enabled to swim, creep, deflect off cover with superior snag resistance, while also allowing for effortless hook sets available in 3/8, half, and 3/4 ounce weights, each in 8 color patterns, $6 each. Would you throw this?
I'll throw a piece of salami if you get to. I say that.
I will throw a baked potato.
About that. That's what Matt's PB smallmouth was on, a piece of salami.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, that goby. I have a couple gobies. For some reason, I don't like to throw swim baits with too many fins.
Okay.
Sometimes they get if the fins aren't perfect, if they're shoved in my vest and the fins get a little bent and stuff, it just throws off the action. I kind of like finless swim baits.
Okay.
As I'm saying, the dorsal fin and stuff that the goby stuff comes with. And also I feel like if you don't get that hook in there perfectly, the fin and the hook could also throw off the tilt of the swim bait. This is just personal experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I threw one when I was fishing with you when we went to the private lake, and I was like, oh sweet, I'll break this out. I don't fish these too often. First throw, I got it caught, and I couldn't get it out, and I stepped on line. So I had maybe 2 seconds to fish it, and the other one, the tail fell off. And so I've had them over the years, but I'm interested in the Gobius. If I see one of those for $6, and I might nail that. Kyle Turner, he's like, hey, too fancy for me. I need to master the simple stuff first. Hey, I appreciate that. Low life angler.
The fundamentals.
Yeah, the goby. Take that bad boy to Lake Erie.
Yes. There's a lot more gobies up North Ohio than there are down here. So if I was up north, I would definitely be throwing a goby a lot more.
All right. So if you follow the channel now, I've done some questions and some polls on the next item. This is the Cast King iReel IFC. Have you seen this yet, Paul?
Wow, that's got a lot of technology.
Yeah, it's like check this out. It includes microprocessors that digitally monitor casting variables to offer users a refined digital casting experience. External aerospace aluminum and carbon fiber sensibly protect the internal core computer to keep this reel under 7 ounces. It is $350. You pair it with your smartphone, and using Bluetooth on the water, you can employ highly accurate motion capture sensors in the spool to really help with your casting metrics, including the number of casts made, average distance, farthest cast, retrieve speed, and more.
It sounds like those clubs they sell golfers. Hey, go home and watch your swing. And oh man, I dunk my rod and reel into the river at least twice trip. So I feel like those microcomputers would be singed out by the time I get home.
Yeah, but it's sensibly wrapped in aerospace aluminum and carbon fiber. Did you miss that part?
It doesn't sound waterproof.
It didn't say waterproof. It said sensibly.
Okay.
No, I don't see waterproof in this at all. I see sensibly wrapped with metal.
I'm trying to get off the phone when I fish too, not to have another reason to fish and look at my phone. But I'm a tech guy. Don't get me wrong. I love to see. I would love to see the data of casts and all that kind of stuff.
It would
That'd be more fun for me on the boat. I wouldn't take that out waiting or anything, but it also depends on the price point.
$350.
$350. That's not too bad actually.
Who are you? You independently
wealthy?
wealthy?
I don't usually spend that money on a baitcaster. Don't worry.
I mean, if it showed up in my, I play around with it. But here we got some comments over here. Matt's fishing mission said it scans the river for you, and infrared highlights the fish for you. Yeah, right. It's when does it all stop? Right. Steve Brockway. Nope. And nope. Kyle Turner. No way. Such an overkill. Low life angler. Next.
These are all gifts that our wives are going to buy us for Christmas.
Yes, so. You're getting the IFC.
Yes.
It was probably 75% no, 25% yes when I did the poll on whether or not you would buy this. I'm still trying to scratch my head. Like, how does this make me a better angler? Like, I geek out on the data, right? I can understand that. Like, does it in real time, like, adjust to the wind and so I don't get a backlash? I don't know.
Does that have nice action? I mean, it doesn't work well.
Yeah, bucktail. Yeah, I'll wait for the reviews. We'll see how this bad boy. Now, they aren't the first one to come out with Bluetooth-enabled reels. I believe there's other companies years ago have done this, but the price point was like $800, right?
Yeah.
And so it obviously never took off because $800 for a reel is that's wild and crazy.
And only the big YouTubers that were sent them for free were using them.
Yep. So, yeah. Yep. Oh, with 5,000 subs now, you might be that real big YouTuber. I don't know. Jason Fletcher, kind of overkill, I think. I hear ya. So, Cooler Lid, he's like, hey man, I just get the Shimano Corrado. At least Shimano is a reputable company that's known for good reels. Cast King, not so much. Yeah, I heard that comment a little bit. Kyle Turner's like, hey, if you give me one, I'd sell it and buy a few SLXs.
That's what I fish in SLX.
All right, what else do we got here? Oh, I got this was kind of interesting. I saw show up. Let me see here. This is the rattlesnaker. I know, right? Like, what in the world is this?
All right, let me try to figure out what this is.
Yeah, right. All right, okay. So see the
needle at the front.
Yes.
And it put rattles into soft baits.
Oh, there you go. Who's it by?
Z-Man.
All right,
so
Z-Man.
What is this?
The rattlesnaker implants Elastec baits. So those things are hard to get into. With rattle attraction or extra weight, which makes sense because that TPE plastic floats, right? Yeah. And so this tool allows for insertion of rattles and weights, blah, 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 blah. Built-in storage compartment holds extra glass rattles. So that's what it's doing. It's implanting glass rattles. All right. And you can get replacement rattle packs. And it has a surgical tubing needle guard, so it prevents accidental harm.
Okay, add that to cart.
Yeah, there you go. So $4.99 and $12.99 for the tool and a 10-pack of rattles. So what do you think? Would you? I mean, if you're listening in, you're like, hey man, that sounds legit. Would you use it?
What does it sound like in the water? Is it loud enough? Is it loud enough in a river to even make a difference? It's a tough call.
Kyle Turner. Put that in your Yama Tanuki and smoke it, baby.
There you go.
Rattlesnake, I'm game. I've been doing this for years. I like it. And here's why. I like Z-Man products. They're kind of annoying to store. They're kind of annoying in a variety of different ways, but they also have like most things. There's pros and cons. And one of those cons is getting that stupid thing to fall And so being able to insert some weight, okay, that's somewhat interesting. Rattle, all right, also interesting. So I don't know.
I
Jason
guess you
Fletcher's
could
like, hey, take,
put them in Ned rigs, pop them off the floor, give it a little rattle every time it does that little.
yeah, it's just something a little different. I don't know. Jason
Add it to
Fletcher says,
cart.
take my money.
Add it to cart. Looks like we all agreed on that one.
Oh, look, we got positive bucktail
All right.
fishing. That might be something worth giving a whirl. A little rattle to a Senko or a brush hog. Right on.
It definitely looks like some sort of spy thing that you put poison into somebody with, like
Yeah,
the
well,
little
you took that dark real fast. I don't know where you're going with that, but that was pretty dark.
the KGB weapon.
Fishing with Gramps. Glass rattles are good for big worms as well. I know Gramps was picking up some big uns. He had a what I was listening to his short or something. He's like, hey, I was getting skunked all morning. Broke out my fish finder and started. I think he found a 19 on a big worm. So throwing some glass rattles in there. I have no other way to put glass rattles or rattles into my baits. So cooler lid, thumbs up. Lost in Tackle said I would if I use Z-Man more than 4 bags. I'm not sure what that. I'm not following there.
They might just like their bags.
Oh, yeah. And then the last one. I got the last one for us. We're changing from lures here. This is something I just thought was interesting because I use these a lot. Well, I don't use these. Anyways, all right, here we go. It is the Mustad Alpha Point Assault Wide Gap hooks.
Ooh, the hook is a little higher.
Yeah, you see that?
High. Yeah.
You see that? All right,
I
so the
like
high hookup
that.
ratios and secured hook sets on big fish are standout features for the new hook. The Z-bend and epoxy at the eye holds protects soft plastics, perfect for wide gap hook applications like the Texas and Carolina rigs, while also great for flipping. And so, as you guys see there, of course, this Mustad's Alpha Point. And so the Alpha Point, I think those points are at a sharper angle if you like digged into them. So the penetration is going to be a little bit faster there. $4.99 for a pack of these. I'm not sure how many come in a pack, but for those on the podcast, it's not the typical where the hook lines up with the offset bend. So these are off a little bit. So I don't know. That'd be interesting. I mean, it makes sense logically for me. I just need to get my hands on some of them. I don't know. Would you throw them? Let me see. I got some comments over there.
Yeah, that's another one I would add to cart.
All right. So the bunch of no's, about 50-50 there.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Let's leave some comments here. All right. Bucktail fishing looks like a Minecraft EWG. Bass Ackwards 13. Those hooks look legit. I agree there. Cooler Lid says it reminds me of the shear point hooks. All right. And Matt's fishing mission said I'd rig the biggest wad of salami you've ever seen on that bad boy. Did he tell me that story real quick?
So Matt's, the guy's out in rivers and creeks several times a week chasing. He catches giant smallmouth all the time, but he's still not able to get past his PB smallmouth. It was like a decade ago on a piece of salami dangling in the river. It was that
so ridiculous.
I think it was like 9 Mile or something right off the Ohio River or something, but
that's funny. All right, Kyle Turner. He's like, hey, I try that. He likes resin on the eye. I know it makes a nice finish there. Ray the Fisherman could change the action of the plastic, but might be a good thing.
True that. Always, if you give a fish a different read than what they're already read a million times by other fishermen.
Oh, this is interesting. So Lost in Tackle, if it's considered an offset hook, they are illegal in New Jersey. That is news to me. I did not know that. Huh. And interesting. So that's all I got for the new stuff there. I was going to run through, talk about the Titan X, but we're coming to the end of our time here. If you got a question for Bass Ackwards says, Texas rig, that baked potato. I mean, a lot of people have been, so I love the wacky worm. It just catches fish, and not just small fish for me. It has got significant. I mean,
weedless or regular?
No, it is regular. If I'm fishing like a 28-cent yum dinger, I just go straight through the worm. If I'm fishing
right to the middle of the worm,
right to the left of the clitellum there. That's the money spot for me. Now I'm fishing a
Nico rig.
Yes, I have some of those. So my man Nathan I go fishing with, he's like, I was like, you have any Nico like weights I can stick it in his worm? And he had like a pouch, it's like pop, 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 and like every different every
Neat.
different one you can think of.
I use
So
little drywall screws sometimes.
yes, panhead,
Yeah.
like 30-second panhead screws. I thought about getting some of that powder coating,
Yeah.
but I was like, oh, it doesn't really matter. I'd just be goofing around at that time. They can't. But yeah, so you can go real cheap, really fast, get a bag of those for pennies, on what you'd pay dollars for like a 12-pack of those.
Yeah, we're late July, so it's wacky rig season right now. So
Yeah. All right. We got some questions here. Yeah, if you got, we're coming down. We're at the hour, and so if you have a question for myself or got a question for Paul, one of the OG Cincy fish dudes, then go ahead and throw that in there. All right.
Kyle.
Kyle's got one. Here we go. I'll read it for those who's listening to the podcast. What is the first thing I should look for in a river to find smallmouth?
Okay, smallmouth like current. If you usually catch a bass and there's not current in my area, it's a lot of times it's going to be a spotted. But that current's coming through the river. Often there's going to be water that's not moving with the current. We call that slack water, and they like to hang out there and ambush, bait fish that are coming through that current. They hang on that slack water where they're not fighting current. Boom. So I like to look for slack water next to current, and a lot of times in the slack water you get the whirlpools, the eddies,
Yeah.
any of that kind of like weird reverse motion. Also foam. I call it the foam is the home.
Yeah.
Anytime you see foam on the surface, they use it like they don't have eyelids, so they're just trying to get out of the sun a lot. So they'll get underneath foam and stuff. So we call it foam is the home. We toss in there, and often, more times than not, we nail a fish right out of there. And of course, structure. If you got a stream and then there's just one giant rock out there, you should throw at it.
There you go. So the seams, or you call slack water. So take it all back. You got to remember, what these fish are doing. They want to exert the least amount of energy to attack, and so it's typically going to be in that slack water, that moving water, really close to fast moving water, which they're just sitting there waiting for something to fly by and just go nail it real fast. So, all right, now I think that's a great question here from Matt's Fishing Mission, fellas. You only have 3 lures to take on a creek. What are they? So we'll answer it. I want you to answer in the comments as well. If you're going out creek fishing, what are your top 3? I'll let you go first.
Me?
Yeah.
Definitely my Cincy fish grub, or Gary Yamamoto makes these. And everybody makes a single tail grub because I can use them as a swim bait. I can skip them across for top water. I can bounce them like Ned rigs. Yes, definitely my number one go-to bait. I'll probably always have a Ned rig. I don't use them a lot in the summer and stuff like that, but man, if you want to catch fish when nothing else is biting, it's the Ned rig. And maybe a small, like in a creek, if that was the question, maybe a small like little crankbait just to change stuff up.
Yeah.
Spinner.
You did
A
spinner.
whopper popper.
There you go. Yeah, whopper poppers are fun.
Yeah.
If I had to pick 3, and he didn't say it had to be artificial, I go crawfish. Let's go live crawfish. It's a blast. Or like one of the Hellgrammites, that type of stuff. I love finding it and then fishing with it. It's like full circle of life for me.
Yeah.
And then the Nico leech, been absolutely slaying.
Hellgrammite, any kind of Hellgrammite.
Yeah. And then the bomber, the crawdad bomber, which are harder to find. I recently got one. I got 2 from 13 Fishing. It has a metal square bill on it. And so I'm looking forward to that clicking action. So I got 2 of them because I'm probably going to lose 2 of them. But I'm pretty excited about that one. So you look like your mind was blown when I said that.
I'm also trying to read comments.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's cool. Like that one must have a cool little action on it with that bill.
Yeah. All right. So we got a question here from Fishing with Gramps. The question is, are you going to play in the KBF Summer Smalley Series? So if you're not familiar, KBF just put out a smallmouth series. It's like a 3-month tournament, if I read that correctly. And it's only like $25. And so Gramps, you know what? I'm thinking I may. Now, I can't use live bait, which I use primarily on my trip. But there's some of the holes that I fish in Pennsylvania that are artificial only. And so I imagine I would pick some up that way. So for $25, it'd be fun to see if I could hang. with some of the other smallmouth fishermen out there. So you know what? I think you'll see me in there, and I'll have like 3.5 days to post fish. And outside of that, unless I go visit Paul down in Cincinnati, probably not going to be catching too many more smallmouth. But hey, you know, 3.5 full days of fishing, I'll do that. I'll do that. All right, Bass Ackwards got a question for you, Paul. Paul, I've noticed that a lot of the creeks that I normally catch smallmouth in are not holding smallies. I don't think this summer is unusually hot. What are your thoughts on that?
I went creek fishing last night and did moderate. I did okay, 5 or 6 in about an hour or so. Um, it's July. I'm there, and I mean, I don't know if we're doing time of the year or just the whole year for your experience.
I think
But
right
it does,
now.
obviously, it does slow down when it gets a little hotter in my experience. But you said it's not this hot this summer, which is true. We were having in my area, we're having a lot of weird rain where it doesn't rain or it rains too much, and like the creek's too dry or it's too full. So a lot of the weirdness that I'm dealing with has to do with like rain. Um, but it seems to be consistent. My numbers with years past, I'm not seeing anything different
Hmm.
as far as in my creeks and personal experience. But I can't speak for yours, obviously. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Jason Fletcher's got a question here. Any lures or ideas for fishing after severe flooding? Interesting question. I like it.
Okay, if
I,
the water is really staying,
yeah.
I'm throwing a spinner and doing well in a spinner in faster muddy waters. I don't know. It's just the colors and the little what are the blades.
No, the vibration. That's where you're
Yeah,
going for
all
at that
that.
point. You
There's
can't.
just a lot of turbulence going on. That's what I like. I didn't really do a lot of spinners in years past, but I'm having fun with it this year. This
Okay.
spring.
Yeah, I think it's also, I think 50-50. Hey, welcome to the show, brother. Has a great
Subjective.
kind of outlook on this. Some sections of the creek just don't hold good fish, right?
Yeah,
Keep exploring.
get
So
away from the sand. If
yeah, that might have nothing to do with you. Just keep on trudging through. So, Greg Sabrilla says, hey, maybe add some top water.
absolutely.
All right, all right.
I'm a sunset fisherman. I feel like you're more of a morning guy,
Oh
Darren.
yeah, yeah.
I'm a afternoon, late evening guy. So you like the sun up, I like the sun down. But yeah, I got Whenever it's like an hour before sunset, top water the rest of the night.
Mm. So I don't remember the last time I fished at night. I mean, I'm up
Yeah,
at 5 a.m. and then I got kids, right?
yeah.
And so the nights are devoted to the family. So I don't know. We'll see. Cooler Lid's got a
Trying to
question
make me
here.
look
They
better
keep
here.
say what? Is that
Trying to
your
make me
wife?
look like I'm not a family guy.
No, you're a family guy. I
The
know you
nights
are.
is
But your
like
kids are
speaking
older.
from the family.
Your kids are older, right? Mine are like 7 and 5, and like I don't know. All right. So Cooler Lid says it's 91 day, and then it drops to 70.
Yes.
Curious how that affects the fish, in your opinion, Paul. Any thoughts on that from one day to the next?
Any kind of temperature change always makes things a little funky, but could also be in your favor. I like the super hot, the cold drop. Um, and I don't know. Creek crawler might know. He has like I think he has like a sign a water or I don't know if it creates more oxygen in the water when there's
Mm,
a cool when it gets cooler like that. Um, but I don't know. I do better when it goes hot to cold, and that's when I definitely bring out the top water.
yeah.
When it's all of a sudden cool and it's been so hot, yeah, they're going to be a little bit less sluggish and ready to pounce. And the bait fish are going to be moving around a lot more, and everybody's just going to be more alive.
All jacked up.
And Matt, barometric pressure is huge for us.
Okay.
We're always watching the pressure. Pressure's 29 right now. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. So for individuals who don't really pay attention, like for me,
Yes.
people have asked me this question before, and I've told them it doesn't matter because I can only fish at certain times. It's not like I'm retired and can be like, oh, I'm not going to go out now because the barometric pressure is supposed to be different later today. But for those who are like geek out on this stuff, lay it on us for a newbie.
I'm going to do a real sloppy version of this.
Yeah.
Barometric pressure. When the weather's coming, when there's a storm coming, the pressure is going to go lower, and the fish they have these bladders, air bladders, and they feel this pressure change. They also know with the storm coming, their habitat's about to be blown up. It could be a couple days before they eat again. It could be rushing mud for the rest of the weeks. So when they feel that pressure change, they're like, oh, I need to eat because it could be a while.
Mm.
So oftentimes when the pressure's dropping, we're like, let's go, let's do
Mm-hmm.
this, and yeah, great results with that.
Yeah, and it would make sense to me that before when I'm out fishing lakes and ponds, which is my primary way of fishing, they their habitat's not gonna be blown up, right? But they do hit for whatever reason. I feel like during the storm and right before the storm, the catch rate and my hookup ratio definitely increases. But it would make sense even more for me, being that if a storm's rolling in, especially for river and creek fish, that would be more of a big deal,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So it could be days. They don't know. It could be days.
Does moon phases or anything? Do you pay attention to those or like?
You know what? I've done research and stuff on in the past. I've thought about doing videos on it, but I personally don't care, and it's hard for me to make a video about something I personally don't care about right now. But who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe in
I
the
mean,
future.
I'm always when I post my fishing videos, I like to put what the pressure was and what the moon phase was. But it seems like the moon phase is always something different. It doesn't always seem to be waxing crescent or whatever. You know what? I have heard like when there's a full moon, the lights are out. There's more bugs and stuff out.
Huh.
And the fish can see bugs on surfaces, so they feed up at a full moon. So the next day they're not as hungry. These are just old stories old men tell me,
Yeah.
and I believe them.
No, you got to believe it. Here's one thing that is definitely for sure. If I have a bad day of fishing, I blame it on the moon
Yeah.
and the stars in the sky and the barometric pressure. It's all those things. The
Yes.
stars did not align today. All right, Paul. What can we look forward to from Cincy Fish Dudes? You got anything new coming down the pike?
We took a John boat. We did a lot of upgrades. I'm going to drop that video this week. Built a casting deck on it, put a new motor on it, went out, caught some nice fish with it at Rocky Fork Lake. So I'm going to be doing some like John boat videos throughout the rest of the summer. I like to change it up, do a wading video, then a John boat video, then a kayak video,
There we go.
smallmouth video. Oh, it's hot this week. Let's just go get live bait and go for catfish. I'm multi-species. I'm not really a
Right.
bass fisherman. I go for whatever bites. Carp. Love going picking a day and go finding carp.
Why not?
But yeah,
All right. Well, I look forward to that. What kayak do you have, by the way? I don't think this is
I
kayak
just have
fishing
it's a Hoodoo pedal power kayak. It's
Okay.
out of Texas. And I love upgrading things. But I take the pedal out on occasion and put in right in the middle there. I built this thing so that it holds a trolling motor, and yeah, I have found that going on the John boat is a lot less physically demanding than grabbing a kayak. And like you would just back it in the water and get on it, and then I don't know, it's so easy. My feet aren't aching, until 4 o'clock in the morning because I walked 7 hours on the river.
True.
And I'm not like sore because I try to lift the 60-pound or whatever kayak on my car or whatever. But yes,
What is it about wade fishing that my lower back is killing me? Like after a couple hours, I mean, it's just.
ooh, I noticed when you threw your back out when you reached down to grab that smallmouth.
We don't have to. Why are we talking about that? Okay. The smallmouth is so large, I threw my back out. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Well, you bent down so many times to pull. You know what does it to me is my bag.
Oh,
That's why I went to the vest and just threw a couple lures in there.
yeah.
My bag, even a sling, it just starts pinching one shoulder, so I can't do that anymore. I did the backpack and I guess I was carrying more things and it's the weight of my backpack that does it to me. And I'm surprised, like sitting in a kayak doesn't affect your back at all.
No, not at
Just
all.
have good posture in a kayak and stuff.
I don't know. I'm like, as Gramps always says, like the Cadillac man. I'm like just relaxed at a back angle. It's nice. It's just something, in years past I had like a sling and I carried my fish on the stringer and it was all kinds of pinching. So after fishing with you, I saw your vest and I was like, hey, send me all the affiliate links to everything you have, the clip, the vest, and I bought all of it.
Oh, you did?
So I did. I bought all of it. So you got a kickback for that. So glad you did because you put me on the juice. I mean, I got it all. So I got the Bass Dash, I think that's what it's called.
Heck yeah.
And I love it. I've taken it out with my girls and we've gone fishing before. And so That is a sweet rig. You even taught me like the earwax thing to kind of plug your GoPro.
Keep the
So yeah, if you go
GoPro
in,
safe.
so you don't fry your circuitry there. But woo, my
Yeah,
man.
I'm 48 years old, so these river currents knock me underneath the water at least once a trip anymore. I'm just trying to get so
No, no,
that's
this is
safe.
good. Paul, thank you so
Thank
much. We are
you.
at 1:15, and if you have not done so yet, head over to Cincy Fish Dudes, and man, you'll learn a few things. And so I've been appreciative of you putting me on the juice, putting me on the smallmouth, putting me on the largemouth. So you're a fishing brother. Thank you
I
so
gotta
much
make my
for
way
that.
up to Canton.
Yeah, come on up. We got some good fishing holes
Absolutely.
up here.
I know. I know. I've seen your videos. You prove it.
Yeah, it's anytime you're up my way, anytime anybody's up near Canton, Ohio, also known as the Caribbean of the Midwest, reach out to me. If we can't go fishing, we'll at least do dinner or get some food or break bread together. So
Heck
it
yeah.
would
Now I
be
wanted to know, even though my channel is Cincinnati based, it's I'm not, anybody I have Canada watchers, people from Mexico watch. It doesn't you don't even need to live in Cincinnati. It's
yeah.
just like any other fishing channel, multi species. And plus we go to Florida. We've been to Dominican Republic. We go up to Lake St. Clair.
Mm,
We try to travel a couple times a year and do different spots and things like that. So it's not just Cincinnati fishing. But if you are a Midwestern fisherman, it encapsulates Midwest fishing.
oh yeah,
I
for
think.
sure.
I try.
I love it. Well, everyone, thank you so much. It's been a blast tonight. I had a blast. Thank you, Paul. Thanks everyone else who's shown up. For those on the podcast, you guys freaking rock as well. I always tell those on the podcast, reach out to me through Instagram, YouTube. I'd love to hear from you. Next week, we got Chad Hoover on. We're going to be talking about kind of kayak fishing etiquette, and really, we're going to get all riled up because I haven't read these 2,000 comments, but I know they got ludicrous real fast. So we're going to be talking about that. So I'll see you guys next Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Have a good one. See ya.
Thanks, Darren.